San Francisco is one of the richest cities on Earth, home to companies worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and thousands of people sleeping on the sidewalk. Walk 3 blocks from the headquarters of the future, and you'll find tents lining the street. How does that happen? Not by accident. This is the story of San Francisco, a city that built the digital world and couldn't afford to house the people who clean its offices. The gold rush that never ended. San Francisco has always attracted believers. In 1849, they came for gold. In the 1960s, they came for freedom. In the 1990s, they came for the internet. Each wave reshaped the city. But the latest one was different. The internet economy didn't just create wealth. It created explosive wealth. Apple expanded. Google exploded. Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, Twitter. Hundreds of startups turned the Bay Area into the center of gravity for the global tech economy. And the wave never stopped. Today, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is headquartered here. The next chapter of the tech economy is being written in the same city. By the 2010s, billions of dollars in venture capital were pouring into the region every year. Engineers fresh out of college were earning salaries above $150,000. Stock options created overnight millionaires. San Francisco wasn't just hosting the tech industry anymore. It was becoming the headquarters of the digital world. But inside the city itself, something else was happening. A city that couldn't expand. San Francisco covers just 47 square miles. Water surrounds 3 sides, and the land that remains is tightly controlled. Zoning laws, historical protections, neighborhood opposition to new construction. The city cannot easily grow, but demand can. When thousands of high-income workers move into a limited housing market, the results are predictable. Prices don't rise gradually. They explode. Between 2010 and 2020, the median home price in San Francisco nearly doubled. Rents climbed past $3,000 per month, then $4,000. For software engineers earning 6-figure salaries, it was expensive. For teachers, nurses, restaurant workers, and janitors, it was devastating. The people who make a city function were suddenly competing for housing with some of the highest-paid workers in the world. And when supply stays fixed while demand explodes, markets do what markets always do. They allocate by price. Many residents left. Others commuted hours each day from farther away. And some simply fell out of the housing system entirely. The fragile edge. Homelessness rarely begins with someone suddenly losing everything. It begins with instability, a rent increase, a medical bill, a job loss. In cities with affordable housing, people recover. They find a cheaper apartment, move temporarily, relocate. But in San Francisco, there often is no cheaper option. Vacancies are scarce. Wait lists for subsidized housing stretch for years. When people fall out of the housing market in a city this expensive, recovery becomes nearly impossible. Temporary crises become permanent homelessness. Walk through the Tenderloin, a neighborhood sitting minutes from City Hall and the financial district, and the crisis is impossible to ignore. Tents along sidewalks, underpasses becoming neighborhoods, doorways turning into bedrooms. By the mid-2010s, thousands of people in San Francisco were living without permanent shelter, blocks away from some of the most valuable office space on Earth. The system that was never built. Housing costs explain much of the crisis, but not all of it. Beginning in the 1960s and 70s, the United States began closing large psychiatric institutions. The goal was humane, replace institutions with community care. But the community systems were never fully funded. People left hospitals with little support, and over time, many ended up on the streets. Cities became the default caretakers for a problem the healthcare system abandoned. San Francisco, with its mild climate and extensive social services, became one of the places where this crisis concentrated. The city wasn't just dealing with a housing shortage. It was absorbing the consequences of decisions made decades earlier. At the federal level, at the state level, that had nothing to do with tech. The paradox. This created one of the strangest contradictions in the modern world. Enormous wealth, visible desperation, same streets. The Salesforce Tower, the tallest building in the city, completed in 2018, rises above everything. Visible from almost every corner of San Francisco, including from encampments below it. The tech boom generated fortunes, but wealth doesn't spread evenly across a city. It concentrates among companies, investors, and highly paid workers. The people who keep a city running, cooks, drivers, store clerks, janitors, face the same housing market without the same salaries. And the people with the least leverage absorbed the most damage. San Francisco didn't set out to create this, but its success helped build the conditions where it could grow, unchecked for years. The question the city can't answer. San Francisco is still one of the most creative places on Earth. Startups are still being founded. New technologies are still being invented. The fog still rolls in from the bay. But the city has spent years trying to solve a crisis it helped create, and failing. More money spent per homeless person than almost any city in America. And the numbers keep growing. Because the problem isn't just about services. It's about what happens when a city becomes so valuable that it can no longer afford the people who built it. San Francisco feels like a warning dressed as a success story, a place where the future is being invented and the present is being ignored. Two cities, same streets, one shaping the world, one struggling to survive in it. The question isn't whether San Francisco will keep producing the future. It probably will. The real question is simpler. Can a city really call itself successful when success is invisible to the people sleeping outside its doors? If you want more stories about the places where money, power, and cities collide, like and subscribe. The next one is already waiting.